My name is Leela and I am 17 years old. The story I'm about to tell happened 2 years ago. Back then my life felt quiet but incomplete. My mother had passed away when I was 10. My father tried his best but our home was always a little empty. One afternoon he told me something that made my heart stop. He said he was getting married again. I did not say anything, I just sat and stared inside. I felt angry and confused. I did not want anyone to replace my mother. I did not want to call someone else mom. A week later she arrived. My stepmother's name was Hannah. She smiled when she saw me. Her smile was gentle, almost shy. I noticed the small details first. Her hands were slightly shaking. Her voice was careful, every word sounded polite. Like she was afraid to make mistake. I sat in silence, I did not move. I did not speak. She tried to start a conversation. "Hello, Leela. I hope we can be friends," she said softly. I answered with one word, "Hi." That was all. Dinner that night was awkward. Hannah tried to place the food on the table carefully. She asked my favorite dish. If I liked it, I nodded once, but did not say more. My father smiled at her. But I felt cold. I thought she was trying too hard. I thought she was trying to take my mother's place. She seemed patient, but I was not ready. I kept my arms crossed. I kept my eyes on my plate. I did not want to look at her. The next few days were hard. She tried to help me with small things. She reminded me about my homework. She asked if I wanted tea after school. She cleaned my room when I was at school. I felt angry inside. Why is she doing all this? I asked myself, she is trying to replace my mother. She wants to control my life. I avoided her as much as possible. I pretended to be busy with my phone. I spent hours in my room. I whispered to myself that she could never be my mother. One evening we had a small argument. She reminded me to finish my homework. I shouted that I could do it myself. She raised her voice slightly. I raised mine higher. Tears came to my eyes. I slammed my door and ran to my room. I sat on the floor, breathing hard. My heart hurt. I felt alone. I felt misunderstood. I cried quietly. I wanted to tell her to leave, but my voice did not come. I hated the silence in the house. I hated that she stayed. The first week ended slowly. I watched her from a distance. She smiled at my father. She smiled at me. Sometimes I did not smile back. I thought she would give up. But she did not. Every day she stayed. Every day she tried. I noticed small things I could not ignore. She never touched my mother's photos. She never said anything bad about my mother. She did not try to erase the past. She was careful, gentle, patient. My feelings did not change quickly. I watched Hannah every day, and I built a wall around my heart. I did not trust her. I thought every smile was fake. Every kind word was a trick. One afternoon she reminded me to finish my homework before dinner. I felt her voice like a shadow over me. I shouted, "I can do it myself." My words were sharp and I felt guilty immediately. She did not answer. She just walked away slowly. I sat at the table staring at my book. But I could not read. My heart was heavy. The next morning she made my favorite breakfast. I saw it on the table and I wanted to ignore it. But my stomach growled. I sat down. Still silent. She placed the plate carefully in front of me. "I thought you might like this," she said softly. I nodded once. I did not smile. I felt my anger rising. But a small part of me wanted to thank her. I swallowed quickly and left for school. I could not show any weakness. That evening she stayed late cleaning my room. I came home from practice and everything looked perfect. My books were on the shelf. My clothes were folded neatly. I felt a flicker of emotion I could not name. I whispered to myself, why is she doing all this? Why does she care? I felt confused. I wanted to push her away, but I also felt a strange warmth. A week later I got sick. My head hurt, my stomach hurt. I stayed in bed all day. Hannah came into my room with a bowl of soup. She smiled gently. "Drink this, you need to rest," she said. I did not answer. I just looked at her. She stayed by my side. She held the blanket over me. She never left. She did not complain. She did not say I was weak. She just stayed. I could hear her small sighs. But she kept smiling. I felt a small crack in the wall around my heart. One evening, I saw her sitting quietly with my father in the living room. They were talking softly. I overheard my father say, "She will never replace her mother." Hannah smiled and said, "I know. I just want her to feel loved." I felt something I did not expect: guilt. I thought of all the times I had ignored her. I thought of all the times I shouted at her. My chest felt tight. I wanted to apologize, but my voice did not come. Days turned into weeks and small moments began to change me. I noticed the way she waited for me to wake up on school mornings. I noticed how she sewed my school uniform late at night when it was torn. I noticed how she remembered little things about my life, things I had forgotten to tell anyone. Slowly my anger softened. I began to understand that she was not trying to replace my mother. She was trying to protect me. She was trying to stay by my side. One night I saw her looking at my mother's old photos. She did not touch them. She did not remove them. She just smiled softly as if she understood everything. I realized she respected my past. She respected my pain. She never forced anything. She never said, "Your mother is gone. I am here now." She just loved me. Quietly I felt my heart begin to change. I still did not call her mom, but I felt something new, something gentle and warm. The small cracks in my wall grew. Slowly I began to speak to her in short sentences. I answered her questions with more than one word. Sometimes I even smiled when she said something funny. One day I caught her looking at me with her kind eyes. I saw patience, not judgment. I saw love, not replacement. I felt ashamed of my anger. I had built walls too high. I had closed my heart too tightly. And yet she stayed. She stayed every single day. One afternoon I overheard a conversation between Hannah and my aunt. My heart stopped. I was hiding behind the door listening. My aunt said, "You do too much for her. She should know you care more than anyone else." Hannah smiled softly and replied, "I know I am not her mother, but I love her like my own. I will stay for her." I stepped back, my hand trembling. I felt my chest tighten, my eyes filled with tears. I had never heard anyone say something so honest and brave. I had never realized how much she had given me, without asking for anything in return. That night I could not sleep. I thought about all the times I had been cruel. I remembered the arguments, the harsh words, and the silent dinners. I remembered the anger I had carried in my chest. Now I saw it differently. I felt small and ashamed. I saw her love more clearly than ever. It was patient, it was quiet. It was steady. I had built walls to protect myself, but those walls had kept out something important. I realized I had misunderstood her from the very beginning. The next morning I decided to do something I had not done before. I walked into the kitchen where she was making breakfast. I could feel my heart beating fast. I opened my mouth and the words came slowly. Hannah, thank you. She looked at me with surprise. I felt tears sliding down my cheeks. I wanted to say more, but I could not. She smiled gently and reached out her hand. I took it. That small gesture said more than words. Ever could. I felt the wall around my heart begin to crumble completely. A few days later, I found myself saying the words I had avoided for so long. Mom. I whispered. Hannah's eyes widened. She looked at me with love and a little disbelief. I felt something shift inside me. It was like a heavy weight had been lifted. She smiled and hugged me tightly. I felt safe. I felt understood. I felt love that had been waiting quietly all along. That moment changed everything. I finally understood that love is not about who gave birth to you. Love is about who stays. Love is about care, patience, and presence. From that day, our relationship grew stronger. We laughed together, cooked together, and shared small secrets. I began to tell her about my feelings, my fears, and my dreams. She listened without judgment. She guided me without pressure. I started to trust her completely. Sometimes I still missed my biological mother, but I no longer felt angry at Hannah. I no longer feared being replaced. I saw clearly that she had never tried to take her place. She had only tried to give me what I needed: love, support, and stability. Years passed and our bond grew stronger. I could not imagine life without her. She celebrated my successes and comforted me in my failures. She remembered birthdays, school events, and little details that mattered to me. I noticed how her love was steady, never asking for recognition, never demanding anything in return. I realized that she had been teaching me about love in the quietest, most patient way. She had given me the greatest gift a person could give: unconditional care and presence. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, I held her hand and said softly, "You were not the mother I lost. You became the mother I needed." She smiled and squeezed my hand. I knew she understood. I knew that all the anger, fear, and confusion I had felt had been replaced by something stronger: trust, respect, and true love. My heart was open and it was full. She had shown me that love can come quietly and unexpectedly. She had shown me that family is not only about blood, it is about who chooses to stay and who chooses to care. Time went by and I grew older. I became more aware of life and its lessons. Hannah stayed with me through every challenge. She was there when I failed in school and cheered when I succeeded. She never asked for anything in return. Her love was constant, quiet, and patient. I learned that family is not only about who gave birth to you. Family is about who stays, who cares, and who loves you. Even when it is hard, sometimes I thought about my biological mother. I missed her, but I no longer felt anger or fear. I understood that she had her own life and that it was okay to love someone else who chose to be there for me. Hannah never replaced her. She never tried. She respected the past while building a better future for me. I realized that love can be gentle and invisible at first, but its impact lasts forever. One day, as I prepared for college, I looked at Hannah. I called her Mom again. And this time it felt natural. I held her hand and whispered, "Thank you for never giving up on me. Thank you for staying." She smiled, tears in her eyes, and hugged me tightly. I knew that no matter where life took me, she would always be part of my heart. The love she gave me shaped the person I had become: strong, caring, and ready to face the world with hope. Now, as I tell my story to you, I hope you understand something important. Love is not always loud. It does not always appear when you expect it. Sometimes it comes quietly, patiently, and changes your life forever. If you are a stepmother, your patience and kindness matter more than you realize. If you are a child, look carefully. Sometimes the person who stays quietly is the one who loves you most. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a comment and share where you are listening from. Your support helps me share more stories of love, family, and life. Remember, sometimes love is found in the quietest places, and it stays forever.